thank you for joining us in another video for Prime Welding Academy. Today we're going to be explaining the test on AWSD 1.1, figure 6.16 and figure 6.20. This test is almost the same, it's the same principle. The only difference is that one is on 1 inch and the other one is with a 3/8 plate. So the thickness makes a difference on this type of test. What that means is that when you do the test on a 1 inch plate, you are certified to weld unlimited thickness. When the test is on a 3/8 plate, then you are limited to 3/4 of an inch thickness. We're gonna show you how to make the test, how to start welding the root pass, how to do the cleaning, and also how to finish with the cap. Mr. David here is going to be the one doing the test. He's going to be explaining step by step so you guys can see and know what to do if you come across this type of test.
And again, like I said, thank you for joining our video, and let's get to it.
So guys, this is going to be the test. It is on 3/8 plate with a backing bar. This is a 3G position, and like he says, with the backing bar. David?
Okay, so in these tests, what we're gonna do, we're gonna fuse one bevel to the backing plate, not touching the other bevel.
One of the things here on this type of test, it's important for you to know that what David just mentioned, you're gonna fuse one side only to the backing plate. Do not do any type of weaving on when it comes to the first pass, which is the root pass. Always make sure that you fuse one bevel to the backing plate only. Do not touch the other bevel.
I'm gonna start on the backing plate, weave over to the bevel, and only go up on this side, not touching this bevel. Just backing plate and bevel fusing. Let's get to it. So as I'm going up, you see I'm trying to stay as uniform as possible. Just touching one bevel on the backing plate. Have to leave enough space for the other pass. You know you got a good weld when the light comes off by itself. So as you can see, right after I threw my first pass, I clean it up and make sure I haven't touched my other bevel. If I did, I give it a little clean and a little grind. So as you can see, the backing bar and this bevel are still exposed after my first pass on one side. So this is the correct way to do this test. So I'm gonna do a little bit of grinding just to make sure I fuse correctly with that backing plate right at my start. So what I'm gonna do is fuse backing plate, half of this, 1/8 of our first pass, and 1/8 of our exposed bevel, all the way up. So here now we have our two passes joined, fused, also with our bevels, with our base metal and our backing plate. So both of these are fused individually to the backing plate. So after you do your cleanup, make sure you do a visual inspection of your passes. Here we see a little defect. We wanna check it and take that out before we continue our welds. So here, this was our problem area that we thought, or our area that we thought was gonna be a problem. Wasn't really excessive. You don't really have to go too excessive into the grinding. Just make sure you got some good clean weld behind your problem areas that you think, any areas that you think would be a problem. So after we clean up and do our visual inspections, and we're gonna start our next weld, I'm gonna start opposite to the last bead I threw, start opposite to it so I could start the stacking process. So as I'm going up, I'm not doing any weaving. Some companies ask for no weaving. Some really don't mind. It all depends on their process, procedure that they're used to or that they want. This is the stacking process. So like always, do a visual inspection after each bead you throw. Everything good? Let's get to it and keep going. So after our root passes, that was composed of two beads, we also threw another 2 beads for our fillers. Our complete beads, filler beads, are going to be composed of 5, which we already threw 2. The next will be 3. So this is going to be our 3rd filler bead. I'm building up that weld a little bit more. So here is our 3rd filler pass. I try to not go over 3/8 of an inch. That way we have enough room to do our rest of our filler stack. So here, I don't know if you guys can see, we got a little shadow. The important thing you guys gotta see here is that I did not go above our base metal, as to whenever we start our cap, we don't have an excessive cap. So our 4th filler bead is gonna be straight down the middle. Let's get to it. So before we start our 5th filler bead, I'm gonna clean up that one area from our base metal to our 4th filler bead. So as you guys can see here, as I cleaned up my area, I'll just make sure I didn't have no dips and valleys. So this is gonna be our 5th and final filler, and make sure as to our 3rd filler bead, do not go over the base plate so you don't have an excessive cap. Get to it. On this one, I'm not doing much weaving, just traveling straight up. So that was our final filler pass. We've done the root, we've done the fillers at 24 volts and about 300 inch per minute. Wire speed. Now we're gonna start our capping process. What I like to do is go a little hotter, so I'm gonna turn up one more point. Maybe go up to like 315 to 325 inches per minute on wire speed. All right, so we're gonna start our process, capping process. I'm aiming for 3 passes, but 4 if needed. Now I'm gonna grab myself another guideline just to make sure we keep our cap nice and uniform. As you can see, it's nothing too excessive. It was just a little line, just a little guideline. Now continuing with our second bead of the cap. Let's get to it. So when I start, I like to spot tack a little bit, just to build up a little speed. And then I start moving up. No weave. Get that weld puddle look constant as you're moving, as you're doing your progression uphill. And when you get to the top, make sure you go all the way up. You get a nice. Now, continuing on with our third bead of our cap. So I'm gonna grind my guideline for our fourth and final bead of our cap. I had guesstimated 3. Sometimes it takes more. Moving on to our fourth and final pass of our cap. So now I'm gonna clean up my weld and give it a little visual inspection. We have it. Our 4 bead cap. This concludes our 3G test uphill with backing plate. In my case, I didn't have any BBs, but always make sure to do a visual inspection after you finish and before you call the instructor and or quality control. Make sure you check for any undercut or any BBs, any defects. Like I said, before you call the instructor and or the quality control. Thank you guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next video. Stay tuned for more.